This has been one of those days where I checked the weather, started off nice and sunny, but then the clouds rolled in. And I find the trickiest part is trying to memorize what the light's doing to the objects, to the subject. Did my best, thought through a few things and thought, you know what, this is a really lovely sky study. So I thought I'll just run with that. So let's see how I go. So I've put some fresh paint out, starting off a really nice day, and it did have the promise of a better sunlight, but let's start to get some of those big shapes in. This is a pretty classic scene, but it's always wise to make sure that I get those big shapes in. And I felt I did make a small little mistake with the height of this shape, but the great thing is it's really early days. So, and I probably notice I make quite a few little drawing errors, especially the more complex a scene gets. We're bound to make little mistakes, especially with the fact that it's only a small board. Normally on a bigger board, we've got a little bit more leeway and ability to adjust. Where on a small board, if we're running out of room, we run out of room really fast. So here I was using the little ivory flat, really made some really nice foliage shapes by just really pushing hard and just allowing the bristles to spread out. Because I think that's the one thing with foliage, is that I don't think we want to become too systematic with it, or it can become a little bit manufactured and almost sort of like a machine's doing it, always stamping the foliage on. Most trees, most bushes, shrubs are quite different, especially the more we travel around the world, or that I've travelled, I've noticed that the foliage, and also it's been a very wet spring here in France, so with the rivers and streams, almost that capacity, if not overflowing, everything is super lush. So now it's time to get that big brush out and start to blast away at the castle. Mainly the stonework, that's the part that I'm trying to get in. And I actually did go in a little lighter than I normally would. I did it on purpose, but mainly because I was expecting far more light into the foreground. So I was going to be able to cool the colours on the castle and then have the sky in behind, but then go with that blast of light in the foreground. But it pretty well didn't come back. So as I'm putting it in now, it kind of left me a little bit high and dry for the rest of the day. So with that one, normally I would not. I definitely wouldn't try and chase the light or chase the changing conditions, but on this case, I felt it was fairly imperative to adapt to what the light was going to be, because the difficult part is normally we want a fairly consistent subject, objects to look at and to view, so that we can be able to measure and check and recheck, and when it's changed and looks like it's not going to go back, then I'd be having to do either have a almost complete photographic memory, which my visual memory is very good, but definitely not that good, or I'd have to make it up and guess, and that's where it can get a little dangerous as well. So especially with this being quite a complex scene, if it was just, say, just the field, a row of trees, maybe a distinctive tall tree to stand out, that is far easier to be able to do. But with all the brickwork and the rooftops, there's quite a bit going on. So I felt it was a good time to bring the sky in now And I think that was actually the one consistent thing definitely through the day. Almost every couple of minutes when I'd look up, it was another fantastic sky. So that's where I started to realise, you know what, instead of trying to work from a photo off my phone or something, which sometimes I have contemplated that, but I think it really wasn't a viable idea or option really. So with that thought, I thought I'd start to see how much more depth and interest I could get out of the sky. Because the sun is coming in from the left and travelling to the right. And I'm not sure if the sun actually does ever fully, maybe in winter or the middle of summer, it might make it right round and hit this wall. Looking at where the moss is growing on that right-hand side of the left turret suggests that not much light ever gets there, because that's the furthest point from the morning light. So it may only get a little bit in the deepest parts of summer. But I have to admit, I do love painting these roofs. They're little works of art in themselves. Almost when you look at it, you can think of the Disneyland tower. So with that, I was able to get a little bit of the three-dimensional shapes going. There were some chimneys up there. There was a little bit of silvery grey flashing as well, which was good to help indicate where things were going or finishing and starting. But it really was a highlight of the castle, because normally we think sort of brickwork and windows and that's the main part. But it was a great little challenge. I was engaged with the subject all the time. Now just having a look at it, maybe just that little yellowy ochre. But I think I'm definitely going to do a bigger studio version. I've got a few different angles, and with a little bit more time to contemplate. That is so important as well, to have that time to problem solve and work through those things. That kind of worked out how I expected. That light just didn't hold, so I was having to almost alter the scene that I was painting, which I don't really like to do, but that light just disappeared for a little too long, so I had to run with a scene that was really more in front of me than actually what I started out painting. I think I probably got the castle area a little too yellow, but I know I can adjust that in the studio as well. And that's what plein air painting is all about. It is almost like a sport more than art or science, really. It's being able to adapt to the situation and get the most out of the day as well. So, hope you enjoyed it. All the best. Bye for now.